Step 7. Go to Plan B. My granddad says that when you need to find an answer to a problem, you should probably sleep on it. Then you'll have the answer when you wake up in the morning. The night after the nasty lemonade sale, I decided to take my grandfather's advice. Before I went to sleep, I wrote a question on a sheet of paper. The question was, how should I earn back the cookie money? I folded up the paper and I put it under my pillow, and I slept on it like my grandfather said to do. That night I dreamed about Doofus Doolittle. In my dreams, his furry little face was next to mine. He touched my nose with his cold little nose, just the way he does when he wakes me up sometimes. When my mom called me the next morning for breakfast, I jumped out of bed fast. Then Doofus Doolittle came into my room and rubbed up against my leg. It was like he reminded me of something. And it was when my dream came back then. I picked him up and I gave him a hug. He tilted his head to the side and meowed. Sometimes I think Doofus is the cutest cat I've ever seen. And then the answer came to my problem. Every kid on the street thought that his or her pet would be the cutest in the world. Lydia and Amber thought Snowflake, their white Persian cat, was the cutest. Booker and Betty have hamsters. They thought they were the cutest. The Greens have 2 dogs, goldfish, and 2 birds. They all thought their pet was the best. The answer to my cookie money problem was all the cute, smart animals on my block. In other words, a pet show to decide whose pet was really the best. I could call it the Oak Street Pet Show. I could charge each kid on the block a fee to enter his or her pet in the show. I would also charge kids who didn't have pets an admission fee. I thought I'd make lots of money, even maybe more than I needed. Suddenly, I started to feel better. I pulled on my jeans and my sneakers. Then I ran downstairs as fast as I could. I could hardly wait to tell Tina about my plan. This was the best idea I've ever had. "Morning, Willie," Tina said when I sat down. Both my mom and dad were sitting at the table. I figured that's why she had didn't call me the usual name. My dad smiled approvingly. "I'm happy you remembered, Tina," he said. My parents were gathering their things for work. I told Tina about my idea. She agreed it was a winner. I finished the breakfast and went outside to look for Amber. Lena and Lana were playing on the front porch, even though it was still early. When I told them my idea, they agreed that was a good one. "Let's make a list," said Amber. 4 of us sat there while trying to figure out what to write. Then I thought about what my mom said reporters ask themselves when they report a story. She said they always ask themselves the 5 W's. Who, what, where, why, and when. So I wrote down the first W, who. I wrote down my name, Willie Thomas. Then I wrote down Oak Street Association. I liked the way it sounded official. What? A pet show. When? Tomorrow afternoon. Where? The Greens yard. I paused for a minute. I'd have to ask the Greens if it was okay, but I knew they'd say it was. Why? To find the cutest, smartest pet on Oak Street. I read my list over, then I wrote down the things to do. Number 1, ask Gregory Green's permission for his backyard. Number 2, make and hang signs. Number 3, find a judge. Number 4, make a plaque for first prize. Number 5, get Doofus ready. The first 2 steps were easy. I asked Amber, Lena, and Lana to help me collect signs we'd use for the lemonade stands. We printed new signs about the pet show on the back of the old signs. Is your pet cute? Is your pet talented? Enter your pet in the Oak Street Pet Show. 75-cent pet admission, 50 cents without a pet. When? Tomorrow afternoon, 1:30. Where? The Green's backyard. We hung the new signs in the same places we hung the signs for the lemonade. I asked Candy, Pauline's babysitter, if she would be the judge. She's always fair and never takes sides. Then I made a first prize. I took a square piece of wood and covered it in tin foil. I pasted gold stamps all around it. Then I took a big blue ribbon and attached it to the end. I asked Tina to write in cursive, "Smartest, cutest pet on Oak Street," on a piece of white paper and glued it in the middle. The first 4 things were crossed off my list. Finally, everything was ready. Everyone on the street was excited. Everyone had brushed, washed, or rehearsed their pet. Everybody was sure his or her pet would win. The next thing was Doofus Doolittle. The only thing that Doofus Doolittle hates more than the vet is taking a bath. I knew that giving him a bath for the pet show was out of the question. So I decided I would just brush his fur and tie a red ribbon around his neck. That night, I dreamed about Doofus Doolittle and his red ribbon. In my dream, I taught him how to play chopsticks on the piano. I woke up the next morning thinking about how he really was going to be the best pet in the world, even if he couldn't play a note.